looking back at the Constitutional Court over the past 6 years or so, it has intervened in constitutional crises before. In 2006, there was an election, then also boycotted by the Democrat Party. The Constitutional Court at that instance ruled to nullify that election under very similar circumstances. And a few months later, we saw the military coup coming in to oust the caretaker Prime Minister and install an interim military government. What we see from today is that the courts have perhaps learned from those previous interventions in politics that perhaps they've been overstepping their mark a little, and they're going to try and let the system play out on its own. It also means, really, ostensibly, a continuation of this confusion and almost political deadlock in the country. The elections are stuck in a quagmire of legal battles. And it seems very unlikely that we're going to see a parliament formed in the next few months, and we don't know where we're going to go from that. At the same time, while this was a sort of a threat to the caretaker government run by Yingluck Shinawatra, there are also many other threats to her rule, most notably a corruption allegation. The National Anti-Corruption Commission is investigating her for alleged sort of deference of duty in a plagued by sort of a plagued rice subsidy scheme, and it's very possible that she could be indicted under that and could be forced to step down through other means.
Ismail, now another massive protest had already been planned for this weekend, even before this court ruling was handed down. What kind of effect might the decision have now on those protests?
Well, the protesters, I think, they're going to continue on. In a sense, you could look at this situation as also sort of attacks coming from all sides of the government. You've got the courts, the Anti-Corruption Commission investigating them, and you've also got these very belligerent protesters on the street, and at times violent. Some of them are armed, and they're occupying key areas of the city. It's also notable to point out that the Constitution Court also pushed out and rejected some petitions for them to look into the unconstitutional actions of the protests. So what we're looking forward at is more deadlock here and more protests. And as time goes on, it looks harder and harder for the Yingluck government to stay in power.